Hello all, welcome. I was recently doing a series of podcasts with one of my friends, and we were discussing about the cybersecurity career and stuff. So I think we made around 2, 3 videos, but what I realize and what we realize is there are so many career guides available on the internet, whether it's in the form of article or videos or some other forms like podcast, for example. But what was missing part is we talk a lot, but there are very less things in terms of the tips and tricks which someone can actually show how they are doing. So, for example, if you're talking about how to hunt for a job, like everyone would have their own methodology. Yes, they might talk about that on the podcasts or YouTube videos, but there are very less videos and articles which actually shows you things how to do that. So while we were discussing all of these things in the podcast, we realized that we need to show things. So yes, I have shown that in the podcast, but then so after a series of 2, 3 videos, I have decided to compile all the tips and tricks which I showed on the podcast, and I just want to compile them into the one video. So I think this is that video. So it's going to be very simple. So the way I'm going to do this is let you know every single tips and tricks that I have been using personally in my career from last 13 years, which has helped me. You may or may not agree. Everyone have their own methodologies and stuff. So, but this is something that I wanted to let it out from my end. While I have written a detailed blog on the how to start the career in the cybersecurity, and it also has a checklist, ready-made mind maps and questionnaires. But I think those are the stuff that I want to put into the action and present to you via video. So the way we are going to cover is very simple. So I'm just going to have a problem statement here. For example, how to find the latest quality content on the internet, and then I'm going to show you how do I do that. And then we'll move on to the next topic again with a problem statement, and then we're going to cover it up. So the first one is how to find the latest quality content on the internet. Now, why this is important is because whether you are preparing for the interview, whether you are preparing for the topic and stuff, there are so many different ways to actually read about the stuff, right? So I'm going to show you what are the stuff that I do, and then I'm going to let you know. So for example, let's go on the browser. So if you go to the kickstart, and if you go to the what is the best way to learn in cybersecurity. Okay, so there are so many stuff. So read a book, YouTube playlist, ChatGPT, official cert, online courses, self-learning, internship, podcasts, and stuff, right? Now, depending upon what you prefer, you can choose any of the stuff. So I would recommend you guys first go through the first, second, third, and fourth column, and then try to know the pros and cons if you are selecting one methodology. And only after that, once you are selecting that, okay, you are comfortable with YouTube playlist, then go for this methodology. If you're going for a book, then go for this methodology. So then only read the last column, right? So I'm going to show you the practical tips on how do I do that. And I have a very specific keyword on the slide that the latest content. Okay, you all know how to find stuff on the internet, but I think what is something that I have seen in the beginners is they find the content directly via searches, but they do not use the filters. And I'm a very fond of filters. So for example, read a book. So let's go to the Amazon.com. And if I search, for example, let's say threat intelligence. Okay, yes, I may start reading this book because they have a, good rating and stuff. But the thing is that when this book was published, if you are if you are reading something which is old, okay, it may or may not be up to date because now you know that with the AI coming up in the market, the things are rapidly changing, technology is rapidly changing. So you need to find the latest stuff. Okay, so again, you will need to find when they are published. So this one says June 2022, this 2023. Uh, Probably this book would be a good, but let's say it's 2021. So simple way to filter stuff here is what are the newest arrivals. Okay, and then you will know that okay, probably these are let's say early edition or something. There are no image available, but at least you got the book name, right? Now, when you do the okay, so by default the filter would be something like featured or let's say relevant if you are going to another website or something. But if you go for the newest arrival, you will find the less relevant stuff. Okay, so let's say if I go back here, okay, I'll find top 10 books which are related to threat intelligence. But in this case, I might only find two or three. But whatever those two or three out of these 10 could be still related to cyber threat intelligence, but that would be latest. So this is how you can find the latest book. Uh, the second one here is a YouTube playlist. So let me go to YouTube. Let me, okay, I'm not gonna, okay, so let me go for the another topic. Let's say penetration testing. Now, this is one of the very common topic on the internet. I would like you to use guys these filters, and there are so many filters around that. So, for example, what I have mentioned here, search for the YouTube filters and then look for the structured playlist. So, for example, I don't let's say let's say if you're a beginner, okay. So you don't need one video to let you know what is penetration testing. You want to learn everything in the penetration testing, right? So go for the filters and use the type which is playlist. Now, when you use the playlist type, now you're finding the quality content because then you got 30 videos on the web application pen testing. Then you got 7 videos, which is 15 hours course for the ethical hacking, right? Getting started with industrial OT security, and again, there are 11 videos out of that. Okay, how to set up a pen testing list, 7 videos. So this is a structured playlist, right? So there is a guarantee that if you go for this particular course, and
Imagine bringing your site.
I know this course, so they will teach you everything right from the beginning to end. Okay. Another way, let's say you are a kind of intermediate or advanced, and now you don't want to go for the course, but you want to go for the anything which is latest happening in the market. So you will use the same filter, remove this, and go for the upload date. So now these videos are something which have been uploaded recently. So let's say this one is a 6 days ago, complete course on pen testing. Again, this is the entire playlist, and then it's 27 videos on uploaded 3 days ago. Okay, and then introduction to network forensics, 8 videos. Okay, not related to pen testing, but because they got the title here, so you are getting that. So I suggest that you use these filters, and I think let's say you want anything to be, let's say a new zero-day vulnerability comes into the market, okay, and then I want to know about that. So I'll type, let's say, 0 day. I'll hit enter, or let's say I'll type 0 day vulnerability, and probably I want to know everything which has been discussed about that vulnerability today, right? So I'll use this filter today, and then I'll be able to do that. And you can use multiple filters as well. So let's say you want to identify, uh, let's say, cross-site scripting, and then you want to learn about that. But probably, let's say this video is 9 minutes, this is 11 minutes, this is 7 minutes, but I want a complete explanation of the video, right? So probably I will go for the duration, any cross accepting video duration which is over 20 minutes ago. Okay, so then I'm getting a full, you know, cross accepting knowledge from this 34-minute video, this one 31 minute, and likewise. So I would suggest that you start using these filters. I mainly use playlist, um, and then last update or last uploaded, and I also use the uploaded date, which is the most recent one. So this is how I use the playlist and stuff. And obviously you can go for the chat gpt. Now the stuff with the chat gpt is something you need to ask a lot of questions to chat gpt, and you wouldn't know what questions to ask. So let's say if you are learning SQL injection vulnerability, so there are plenty of materials available, either book, podcast, YouTube, and all. If you want to learn it from ChatGPT, then you need to ask in a way that generates your curiosity. So, for example, it now this one depends on every individual's creativity. Okay, so okay, let me try finding something. Okay, so I have a ChatGPT on and I want to learn about SQL injection, but that depends on how curious I am and in what way I'm asking the question. I can simple ask what is SQL injection, but there is no point of asking what is SQL injection to ChatGPT because you can get a lot of answers from OWASP and other website and stuff. Okay, so I'll write something like this. So I'm a complete beginner in cybersecurity. I don't know what is SQL injection. I'm coming from non-coding background. I want to understand entire SQL injection vulnerability from definition to description, how to find tools, techniques, methodologies, and how to protect against SQL injection, right? So now the answer depends on my curiosity because I'm writing this in this way. If you're only writing what is SQL injection and teach me, it may not work. Okay, I can also add something like, explain me like, 10-year-old kid so that I can easily understand. Okay, so just to save the time, currently I'm using the instant mode. So now if I give this, it will explain me the SQL injection with a very, lame way so that I can easily understand. For example, you are the customer, you go here for the food, the waiter writes down the and give it to chef, the order. The chef allows the note and makes the food. Sorry, the chef follows the note and makes the food. Now, okay, and then you understand because they have given you the, very realistic example. And then also this one, and what is the query, and how can you find the SQL injection, and what happens when you give this payload into the database. So it will bypass. So basically, I'm not going to go into the detail, but it depends on your curiosity. So if you don't know like how to write a detailed prompt, imagine what all questions come to your mind and how are you getting confused about a certain things. Just write those things here. I'll give you another tip. So for example, let's say you're not probably good at writing the prompts, and probably some people won't be able to write the prompts in a proper English, but yeah, they are really good in terms of asking questions to their friends and stuff. Okay, and even they ask questions to their friends in their own local language and stuff. So I would suggest that you use the this one, the microphone recording stuff. So probably let's say if we both are friends and we are having a conversation, I would use this one. I don't know what is SQL injection. The other day I was reading about that, but I couldn't understand anything. Uh, Probably because I'm coming from a non-coding background. So can you teach me what is SQL injection and stuff? And please, please, please teach me in a way that I can really understand because I read a lot of stuff on the internet and they are all confusing. So imagine I talked in a way that I would talk to my friend, okay, and then it created a prompt for you. Okay, and then if you go for it, it will still give you the quality results. So I think this is another tip that I would love to give you guys. So this is how you can find the quality content. You can start learning about this stuff. Okay, so let me go back to the other one. Okay, and then official certification. Now if you don't know what are all the official certification, there is a Wikipedia. So computer security certifications, and so if you go here, then you'll find the list of all the certification. The way this has been, I'm not sure how frequently it's being up to date, but I have seen almost every single vendors here. Um, and then you would also be, having a product-based vendors here, and then you have, certificate along with their short name and full name, and then focus whether they are, into the offensive or defensive, and what is the validity and stuff. So you can find all the certification and stuff here. So on this guide, there is also another question that how can you find the certification. So that would be helpful for you. I mean, I have given you the checklist. How would you identify which certification is better for you? Okay, so the next one is the online course, and for example, Udemy. Now, Udemy would have the structured courses and stuff. Some of them would be paid, some of them would be free. But imagine you are a beginner in this industry and someone told you about the Udemy. You go on the website and you found the course. If you're learning, it's great, but let's say you don't like it, but you want to find something else, and the site has all the paid courses. So you want to find other sites like Udemy where you can get the free courses. So I would write something like sites like Udemy. Um, and then you can see that I can get the AI generated answers like Coursera, Skillshare, ADX, Pluralsight, and all. Right now, the similar question you can ask to ChatGPT that what are the other websites like Udemy, and then you can get a list. I mean, once you get a list, you'll bookmark them so that you won't forget. Okay, you can also mention something like alternatives to Udemy, and then AI will still generate answers for you in a similar fashion. So this is how you can find different websites where you can learn from the courses and stuff. Okay, self-learning project is something. So you would have a curiosity, you learn something from somewhere, and then you ask GPT or you ask mentors that how can I build a project at my home, and then I can start learning from them. So I think this one is definitely repeating. Internship and podcasts are there. So you will have to find cybersecurity podcast. Now, the thing is that if you just type a cybersecurity podcast, it will list these things. Now, this thing is coming from the Google Scrap or Google results. Okay. But what I would suggest that you go ahead and add one more keyword, cybersecurity podcast list. Okay. And when you go for the list, yes, Google will still give you this answer. But at the same time, if someone has written a blog, okay, for example, there is a Sans blog on what are all the cybersecurity podcasts for 2025 that we should be looking forward to. This person or this company has written a blog. I think it's a node. There are some discussions on the Reddit. Also, Splunk has written something on that. So when you type the list, okay, then you will get a different stuff here, and then you open all of this. Okay, then you will get to know what are all the podcasts that you should listen to. So Blueprint, Cloud S, Trust Me, I'm Certified, blah blah blah. Same way, same way, your Darknet Diaries, Hacked, Security Flows and stuff. Okay, again, you would create your own Excel and you create, stuff inside your own Excel so that you don't forget next time, or probably you can bookmark it. Um, Probably, let's say there's a lot and lot of discussion is happening and you don't want to read through an entire, comment section and all. You would give everything here. Okay, and I would go to, let's say, I would go to ChatGPT and identify, okay, scrap all the podcast names or suggestions into a table format for me. I can write this thing, and it will list all the, podcast names. So, I mean, it can do it from the, textual analysis, but again, that is something it's doing through the Python code and then textual analysis. So once it runs on their, inside machine or virtual machine, or probably a container, you will get the list of all the podcasts. So yeah, these are all the podcast suggestions which has been discussed, and now you got 41 lists compared to those 10 15 which you are getting from this block. So this is another way. How would you keep up to date with your latest podcasts and stuff? And there are webinars and workshops already there. So I think the best way to find the webinar and workshop is again YouTube. So you would go here, you will search for the, let's say, I would suggest bug bounty. And then again, you go for the over 20-minute videos because usually the webinar or seminar would be, around more than 20 minutes or something. And then at the same time, I would also use the upload feature. So now I have upload date feature and over 20 minutes, and I'm talking about the video. So now probably I'm getting all this in. Now some of them could be a part of the webinar, some of them could be an individual YouTuber who is uploading a video and stuff. So this is how you can find out. Um, so yeah, this is how you can find out the webinars and stuff. Um, Again, what are the okay social media learning? So for example, if you let's say so on the social media learning, I would really use the different hashtags. So for example, if I come here and let's say I go to my LinkedIn, let's say if I just type bug bounty, I'll get all the work on the bug bounty, but I'm really more interested on the post rather than people who has mentioned the bug bounty on their profile. So start using these filters. And again, when you go for the post and bug bounty as a keyword, probably you can go for the latest instead of top match, because top match would be still good, it would be still relevant because it's 1 day earlier, 4 days earlier, but I want to know latest right from the now. So then you will get, okay, this is 10 minutes ago. So yeah, if I want to keep myself updated with the latest stuff, I would use the filter like 10 minutes ago. You can also look at the content type that I'm only interested in the video demonstration, so you can use that. So again, this is 1 hour ago SQL injection attack and stuff. So this is how you can find the latest stuff. So so the next in our list, I mean the last one is the Google or YouTube. Like YouTube I have already mentioned. Google is also a good source because it's a scrapper of what are the latest content is coming on the internet in any form of way. So for example, let's say if I want to search about the penetration testing, uh, usual Google search would look like this. Again, you can use the Google filters here that I want all the results from the last, let's say past week only. So I'll get the latest videos and latest, things that are updated. So you can check like, let's say days ago, and you can, check all of these which are coming latest. Okay. But I believe that the best way to learn from the Google is to actually identifying the documents. Right now, you can do a Google Doc search, or you can just go for the Google Doc list, and you will find all of these. Right. So let's say Google Doc list for file types. Okay, so you'll find all of these. So for example, let's say if I want to find the PDF, then I would use something like file type, gem, PDF, and then penetration testing. Okay, and so you see the PDF, which is the file type. So if you go for this links, you will directly be opening the PDF file. So you don't have to navigate to the website or probably do the registration and stuff. These things would be, available directly to you at your fingertip. I believe when you do this, I mean, this is very common. A lot of people would know that, but at the same time, you also use the filters. Okay, so in the last 1 hour, I found these things which are kind of related to pen testing. Okay, but if it's not there, then probably, I mean, you can see the penetration testing, but you don't see a title or something, or it could be loosely coupled with these contents. So in that case, you could go for, you can just expand it to the, past 24 hours, and then you'll find something. So for example, this is something like, probably a job description or something. No, I think it's not. So mild to certified penetration testing engineer. So don't know what that is. I mean, the link does not open here directly. Yeah, it redirects back to some other pages. But then you can go here, you can go here, you can go and check this. So you'll find the latest research paper and stuff. Um, so this is how you can find the latest content. You can also expand if you want more relevant search, like what has been coming into the market from last 24 hours or something. So I think probably this is a company who is providing their solutions and stuff. So this is how you can go for the latest content. Now, not only this one, but let's see if I want to you know check the pen test reports, for example. So I would type something like pen test report. So, and mm, if you are not finding a quality result, I would go and do it for at least here. So this is like a pen test report, pen test report, pen test report, pen test report. So some of them they are asking to download, but other may open in the website. So depending upon whether this is supposed to be online or not, I'm not sure. But if it's on, I mean it says confidential, but it could be a test report as well. So this is how you can find stuff. Um, Yeah, so this is example pen test report from another company. So at least you can get to know the better, reporting format and stuff. There are other reports. Probably I'll type pen test report sample or something, and then you will get a different pen test report samples and stuff. Okay, so this is how you can identify. So this is how you can identify the different pen test reports and stuff. Again, let's say you are more interested in pen test. Let's say or I'll just type penetration testing, but instead I'm giving XLSX. Now I'm giving this in a hope that probably I would get some sort of checklist. Right now, again, I'll clear this. So I'm looking for something like a checklist. I'm not sure if some checklists are available in the Excel format or not. For example, I can find the API pen test checklist. This is available in the Excel form. So let me open this. Yeah, so you know that now I got the complete API pen test checklist. Probably it's derived from the OWASP. And it's provided by this particular company, and the same way static pen test checklist and this checklist, and because they are Excel files, I can directly find them out. Okay, so let's say iOS pen test checklist again. So API and then iOS. I'm not sure what else was there. So let's say this one. So again, this one is another checklist. And I think and this one is the iOS pen test checklist. So again, we downloaded it from Google search. So I would really appreciate if you can start using the Google Docs, not a normal Google search, but also when you're trying to find a checklist, also you need the latest stuff. Okay, so you can give a pass there and then try to find some checklists which are available for the internet and stuff, but at the same time you can go for the reporting part, or you can go for a particular knowledge which you want in a form of the file type, and then you are downloading that information. So this was another way of searching on the internet, but try to utilize the filters a lot. Okay, that makes your life very easy. This one is all about how you can find the latest and quality content on the internet so that you can learn. Do not go for just a keyword search, go extra mile and start using the filters available on the website, on the Amazon, on the YouTube or anything, and then get the latest content around that.